And we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the live show, the Big Nasty and Chanko and Big Nasty's live show. We got a special one tonight, a big old roundtable discussion, man. So how you been?
Really good.
Mike?
Went to a convention today, saw
Did you?
Johnny's comic stuff.
Yeah, Johnny O. Hell yeah.
But mainly was really looking forward to this one. I've been looking forward to this one since we first started talking about it. And yeah, I think this is going to be really fun. And I think people are going to enjoy this a lot.
Yeah, I do too. It's getting to be a pretty good hot topic as the programming advances and everything else for people and everybody in the world. Seems like you see it, you can't avoid it on social media with either videos or images and stuff. So, but yeah, you want to tell everybody who our guests are tonight?
Yeah, before, just a quick disclaimer for you guys in the chat. We have a lot of guests tonight. We might not be getting to all your comments, and we might, when we get to them, it might be later. Please bear with us on that. We want to be sure that all the guests have a chance to speak, so we're probably not going to be interrupting people with questions and stuff from the chat tonight. But yeah, let's first talk about our good buddy Bobby, who if you don't know, Robert Emmons, he has a great YouTube channel called Sequential Artifacts. He is a documentarian and a filmmaker and a professor of film at Rutgers University, and a good friend of ours. He's like one of the nicest human beings you can meet, and really, really talented. And I think he's going to have some really interesting opinions on this stuff. Maybe we could bring out our good buddy Bobby.
Bobby. Hey, Bobby.
Hi, thanks for having me.
There's the man.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
I didn't know we were making like entrances one at a time. It's kind of like we're in a sports arena running through the tunnel.
That's right. High five, Bobby.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And maybe next, our good friend Justin Birch, who is a letterer, I believe an award-winning letterer. I know he award nominated for sure, but I think an award-winning letterer who did letters for a couple books of our other good friend Anthony Cleveland, including Buried Long Long Ago, which one of our favorite reads from last year.
Yep.
And he's a big-time comic collector, a big-time Karl Barks collector, and a really super nice guy. And congratulations, he's the father of a newborn as well. Maybe we could bring out our good friend Justin.
Hey, Justin.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Award nominated. I keep losing to Stan Sakai.
Well, this year we're going to stuff that ballot box, man.
Oh my, yeah.
So thanks for doing this, Justin. I know you, and thanks for your wife for looking out for the newborn, so you're able to do that. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it's good timing because like the past 2 nights he's just been screaming. So I'm glad to have a break.
All right. Well, this will be fun. Have a little bit of time here. So hang out with your comic nerd buddies.
Right.
And then our other good friend. So originally Kiss was going to join us. He wasn't able to. He talked to our other good buddy, David Byrne, who they collaborate quite often. And David is one of our favorite writers. He did Jessamy and the Steak series and The Couch. He really super creative. And in fact, they're working on some other stuff that we've heard about that's going to be super exciting. But let's bring our and another guy who is a great comic collection, by the way. Our great friend, the great and powerful David Byrne.
I'm right on the field.
Thanks for doing this, and a high five.
Yeah.
And last and certainly not least, our
Definitely
good friend, Sukesha Ray. Sukesha was on our show, I guess it's almost 2 months ago by now, or maybe over 2 months ago.
It's been
one of our favorite artists. She's like crushing it. She just did the new I just picked up her cover for the new Bug Wars single issue. Absolutely crushing it. One of our favorite artists, one of our favorite people, just one of the sweetest people. We, like I said, we talk about memes on Instagram, and let's bring our friend out, the great and powerful Sukesha Ray. There she is.
Hey.
Crazy title, man.
Crazy.
So, high five, team. We're coming
Yeah,
out.
high five. Yeah. Hey,
We're
thanks
going to
for
the topic
everybody
today.
for being here. It's it means a lot to us. It takes take time out of your day or evening to hang out with us and have this little discussion.
Woo!
And anything to procrastinate from writing.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're going to do what we normally do. We're going to say hi to our friends in the chat. I think we're going to have a lot of people tonight. I think a lot of people are excited by this. So they might filter in as we come. And then we'll get started after we say hi to our buddies here.
Yeah. So let's see. First up, K Munin as always.
As always, hey KM.
Glad you're here, buddy. Then you got my gaming buddy, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Longest. You got Lewis.
Louis.
Lewis. Thanks, guys, for being here. John Harrison.
Hey, John. Good to see you.
Let's see. Oh, Jeff Jack.
Hey, Jeff.
You got Mr.
Mark. Yeah, Mark's watching on his TV. He won't be able to comment, but hi, Mark.
And Rob S.
Rob Saint.
Rob. There's my sweetie up and Adam.
Oh, Adam.
My little side piece.
Good evening, AI sucks.
Great and powerful Robbie Josephs.
One of the best human beings in comics.
Make sure I
Jason's out. Jason's got to be lurking. Archivist the Drift, right?
I hope he comes.
Yeah, I think I saw his name roll by.
There's John.
The award-winning Blue Wrench.
Blue Wrench, yeah. Willie
from Australia. Good to see you, Willie.
Big Matt.
The great Matt. Thank you for coming, Matt.
Here's Don Carter.
Don, good to see you.
And Brittany.
Good to see you, Brittany.
Glad you're here, Brittany.
Glad you're here.
There's old Jason. There's archivist Adrift, as I call him.
Jason.
See, everybody's chatting. Oh, there's Brian, the local comic stud.
Hey, Brian, good to see you.
And let's see. There's Nate.
Good to see you, Nate. Nate, who knows David as well.
Yeah. And
Hey,
Matt.
Matt from Empress.
And Coach.
Can't do a show without Coach.
Looking. I'm always horrible at this because I always pass somebody up.
That's pretty good.
Who is this one? Two is best, 4 is.
That's Billy.
Oh,
Good to see you. It's a catch his buddy.
It's
yeah,
down.
great. That's awesome. Oh, here's
Yep.
great and powerful Stevie D.
Stevie D, another one of the nicest human beings you can meet.
And Do 6
Yeah,
237.
He's commenting on your jacket.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. That's a good one, right? Thank you so much. Oh.
And I think that's pretty much it for right now. But we'll, like I said, they'll trickle in and we'll give them a silent acknowledgement as they come in. So,
yeah. So thanks again for doing this, everyone. We kind of had this concept and we're going to do more of these, but this is kind of the first roundtable we're going to do. And I think it's a really important one. And so I just wanted to kind of first kind of go over just kind of what the current state is and get your opinions on the current state, add to what I'm about to say. But it feels like right now we're starting to see the impact of AI. We've definitely seen it in YouTube. We've seen it at some conventions where, there's been some controversy where people have shown up and tried to pass off AI art. Some discussions with artists and, who's using it, who's not. These types of things where it's starting to make its way into kind of the the general consciousness and in actual practice with regard to art. And this has kind of led to a backlash. It led to San Diego Comic-Con, I believe it was this week, banning all AI art for next year, and some statements by kind of the big two, Marvel and DC. Marvel has kind of been it's been I don't know, maybe lukewarm. The way they've said it, that they believe in the art of real artists and these kind of things. However, DC, the president of DC and one of the great artists of all time, Jim Lee, we're just going to say the quote that he gave. He was asked on a panel about this, and he said there would be no AI at DC. He said that's the point, the smudge, the rough line, the hesitation. That's what makes my work come alive. Lee said, AI doesn't dream, feel, or make art; it aggregates it. He said, and when pressed on it, he said, DC Comics will not support AI-generated storytelling or artwork, not now, not ever, as long as Ann DePease and I are in charge, which is a very definitive way to comment on it. Marvel, as I said, has kind of made some statements, but Marvel has done some other things. One of the editors was, on a live stream making AI art and commenting on how easy it was. There was also a controversy recently on the new Wonder Man series where Marvel was caught using AI-generated advertising for the show. And Marvel's parent company, Disney, they just invested $1 billion in OpenAI, and they've given a licensing deal for Disney characters, including Marvel characters, to be used in AI and AI-generated work. The only protections that they've offered, or that they've publicly said, are protections for the faces and likenesses of actors from the MCU. They haven't said anything about creators, writers, or artists. So my question is, and what I would like for each of you to kind of comment on, what do you think of the current state of AI? What are your concerns, and what do you think of the difference in the way the big two are approaching this right now? Maybe Justin, would you start?
Sure. Before I start, I would like to recognize the hypocrisy of everything that I'm going to say, simply because I'm against AI in art. However, if it's calling balls and strikes in baseball, I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
let's just put that out there first.
Bring on the robo.
Yeah. I forget the question now.
What's your opinion on the current state and kind of the statements that were made on, and what are your concerns?
So obviously I'm trying to watch what I say, right? I love the approach that DC is taking. Marvel seems like they are sort of just covering themselves, like they're covering their ass, basically, is how I feel. Sure, they'll come out and say we're not going to do it until their higher ups tell them that they can, or that there's a mandate that they should. I personally am against it. Obviously, there's always that fear of that this is going to take work away or money away and food off the plate, but it's not something that I'm terribly concerned about at this given moment.
Okay. Bobby, would you like to comment next?
Sure. I'm happy that the first thing I was going to make I've taught media studies for many years, and in that class, we always I always told my students, like, follow it up the chain. Who owns what? Columbia's journalism school used to have a great site called Who Owns What. And this was back at the time when there were, I think there still are about 6, media conglomerates that own all of the media that we consume, really. And, right here in my hometown, Comcast being, I think, the largest, Disney being right there with them. And I think, I would guess that part of what is going on at Marvel is they are, I guess, that those mouse ears loom large, right? And they probably are thinking about that, because also while Disney, I think, has that $1 million investment in OpenAI, particularly for Sora, to use the likeness. And that, when I saw that, the second version of Sora come out, that's when my heart really sank. What I saw that it could so quickly do. And we can get into filmmaking and image and stuff like that later. But when I saw that, my heart really sank, and I was nervous. But as part of that too, I think Disney has the possibility to invest more in OpenAI and what they're able to do. So, I mean, this is just kind of a first step for them, which is interesting, right? About what they're doing. So there could be something. I would say, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I would say there's probably in something like that. While Jim Lee came out and pretty much said, he had that great quote, if anybody remembers, something about AI doesn't dream, right? Humans dream, right? And and as long as we're here, there will be no AI. That was pretty clear cut. I think Marvel tried to give us clear cut response to that, but there does seem to be something looming above that, as the way I see it. Yeah. But I will talk more. It's a very scary, slippery slope. I make jokes with my student all the time. Like, you thought Terminator was a joke. You thought Ex Machina was a joke. It's no joke. And in the past, even 4 years, the leaps that we have made have been extraordinary. So we can come back to all the different levels of that, particularly the ethics of it all. But I'll yield the floor for now.
David?
I mean, I do definitely have thoughts on this, especially being a publisher. But Bobby, I think, isn't James Cameron on the board of OpenAI?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's fairly telling about someone that big in Hollywood who's somewhat invested in even the process. But one of my fears, and I've said it in private because I never wanted to put it out there, but it's kind of looming, is they are owned by Warner Brothers, soon to be Netflix, and Disney. I mean, these guys, they own the rights to all of the art. They own the rights to all of the writing from the last 80 years. They can train AI to do whatever they want, and it is completely legal because they own the copyright. That's my fear, is that someday someone up above is going to say, it's time. We're not going to pay artists. We're not going to pay writers. We're just going to put this out there. We will be up in arms. The general public doesn't seem to really care at this point. They just want their entertainment that they consume. So that's been my biggest fear. And right now, Jim Lee saying that is great, but you said he had a caveat, as long as they're the ones running DC. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? It's exponentially improving in quality and speed and accuracy. So at some point, somebody's going to be like, well, we can save, $100 million a year by just flipping a switch. So it's terrifying.
And that's another topic that I definitely want to touch on, and particularly on the training of AI. I think that's a really good topic for us. Sukesh, I said you go last because you were asking if you could swear, and it's like, once you're outside of like 5 minutes, they don't care. So
yeah, I was gonna say you're all clear now. You're all,
Son of a bitch.
you're all clear.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna go on a rant because I tend to rant, but no, I have to agree with the guys before me on a lot of the terms, right? And being an artist for Disney, I just did the new Lion King, and I actually just got approved for Ursula too, so that was pretty cool. But they have been watching, at least on the editorial side of Disney, they're watching at least, they obviously want hand-drawn art. I get accused myself being an artist, which is kind of crazy because you guys people know me now for a decade. I get accused, and I'm sitting there fucking drawing.
We all see you do it.
Yeah.
In front of people.
This one bitch came up to me and she was like, "You do AI," and I was like, "What the fuck?" I showed a masterpiece, and then she was like, "Well," and I'm like, okay, you can go try to report me. No one's gonna agree with you because I show my processes." Going off of that, guys, I'll cap it, but I love what DC said, and being a DC artist myself, it warms my soul. Love Marvel too, but that statement was just too vague. It's a little too vague for me. I would no, we will not use AI. I wish they just did that cookie cutter clean. It's not that hard,
Yeah.
Do love Marvel though. I'm wearing a Marvel jacket tonight, but like I would have really liked that if they had said that, you know.
Same.
I feel like the only way we can really protect ourselves though is like now I show all my processes, like whether it's like, and I don't give a shit if it's like 2 hours, 2 terabytes worth, like I still record it because I'm like, people are just coming for everybody. It's a bloodbath right now, you know.
Right.
And we got to protect ourselves, you know. But like I think it's the true human heart. My whole brand has always been built on my story and what I've been through in my life, and how my art, like the human connection is something that we cannot overlook. And AI, it can only take, it can never create anything new. So everything that's always existed or has ever existed will be incorporated. But I really think that the human mind and the human connection, that is how I still feel like, I mean, I am loyal and I'm super grateful for that. You know, the human connection cannot be underestimated. So that's
Right.
my, yeah. That's my
And
take.
I think this kind of leads into the next point, and it's
Yeah.
there's been some controversy recently, and again, if you got here late, questions, we're going to take questions later. We might not get to all of them. We're going to allow time for everybody on the panel, but we've seen some controversy recently at comic conventions where people are showing up and they're selling art and not even disclosing that it's AI art. And we're seeing some discussion and accusations of artists who are not using AI and who are being accused of using AI, and some artists who probably are. And so a question on this. First, is this does this rise to if someone's using this and not disclosing it, in your opinions, is this fraud? Are they, if they're passing it off on their own, and if they're selling it particularly, or passing it out, or if a company is doing this and not disclosing it, do you consider this fraud, or do you consider this to be legitimate? And Justin, would you mind going first?
Man, I don't know. Like it's if the artist isn't telling the editor that they're doing it, I think that's one thing. If the artist is telling the editor that they are doing it and the editor is okay with it, I think that's a far bigger issue. It just feels like I know that I'm underselling it and I'm going to be selling this way short, but you always had in the past artists, not all artists, some artists who would just trace over work. They would just trace stuff and show up at conventions with that, and they would get called out on it. So it just feels like we've evolved to the next step of being called out for AI art at conventions.
Yeah. So Kesha, I think this is mostly relevant for what you're working on. What do you think on this?
Yeah, this is a tricky situation. Why? Because artists, what is our job? Our job is actually to take references, right? It's so tricky. It's a fine line we dwindle upon. And as artists, we take references from everything, right? We can take a pose from this artist, but also incorporate this style, but this person's lines. And that's how new artists are born. Correct. You know, it's not, plagiarism is such a tricky thing. But if, let's say, okay, I take my, let me see what's in here. I don't know. I have comics. Let's say someone takes my Vampirella and just copies the entire thing, changes her hair white. And that I think is plagiarism, you know, like the whole tracing down to the complete, like you can tell that's Sukeisha Ray's Vampirella. Like it's not okay, you know. I do think that's plagiarism. I think that different poses you can get inspired, but I think it like it's such a fine point of like, is it not? I have to agree with Justin on his point as well. I think that you should be completely transparent. If you are using AI, please just say you're using it. And if it's good, it's good. Shit. Like, okay, some AI shit kind of looks kind of dope. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love those videos of Gandhi wrestling, like fucking, like you guys ever see those? The Queen of England. Those shits are so funny. I'm
Wrestling
sorry.
Sasquatch or something. Yeah, they're always Sasquatch, it seems like.
That shit's so funny, and you can't deny it. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but the guy says he does AI. So just please, if you do, and if you're in the audience and you use it, just say that you use it, you know? And it's so difficult because we take references, you know, but you can't trace. And I know an artist that was just outed, like, I think it was like last year for tracing. And I've known this artist for a long time. And my respect just went like, and it's 1-to-1 tracing. That's wild, wild 1-to-1. And I was like, that's so difficult to, like, you know?
Yeah.
Ah,
Really bad.
Yeah.
damn. Yeah, just and change something. Change something.
At least try.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I jump in, Mike?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah, of course, Bobby.
This, what you've asked, it's a really great question, because I think it's really, really complicated, which I think you can sense in both Justin and do you go by Sushi? Can I call you?
Yeah.
Is that your nickname? Because that's a great nickname, by the way.
Thank you.
I think you can tell by their responses, you know, and how they're trying to think through this thing. I read not too long ago, you know, about how the great masters would use the camera lucida, right? Which was an instrument that they could look through and essentially trace what the reference that they see from life. And so people were saying, wow, the great masters were doing this. Are they the great masters if they were using this technology to paint great artworks, right? So, and as Sukesha has said, like, you know, artists are using reference. Then when you get to the point of trace, you know, where does the line become, you know, you're using tools or technology to make art and craft, and the word you used, Mike, fraud, which I think is really interesting. And it's a great line to debate and talk about. It's one I think about often myself, because I'm interested in my own work about, you know, the representation of fact versus truth. So I like to play with that. And some of my favorite films, like F for Fake, deal with that, particularly in documentary. But one thing I do know is there's a couple of associations that deal with documentary film. One of them is this archivists group, and they have made a statement that they've taken such an extreme stance. And there was an article in November in the New York Times about this, because people are like, wow, some documentary filmmakers have been using things, and I have used this in myself, but I was doing it to make commentary on the process, and that is voice cloning. So documentaries use voice cloning. Documentary has created images that don't exist to re-show events. So these groups of documentary filmmakers had said, look, this is muddying the historical record. So we can't, they disagree with it. And so there's that, and there's this responsibility of representing reality. And so they feel they've taken such a stance that they say, if you're using AI in any capacity to make a documentary film, that you must tell the audience, or it is fraud. And they're so extreme that they say it cannot even be in the end credits. It must be on the screen as you are using it. You must declare this is a voice clone of, you know, using data, you know, using recordings of the person's voice or whatever it is, because if not, and it's taken out of context, that muddies the historical record. That's how extreme. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately as an ethical call on what to do about AI, its generative forms, and this idea of fraud representation. So it's a really complicated thing I'm thinking about all the time, as you could see everyone working through it in their heads, like, which I think is interesting.
And you brought up a really good point about generative AI that I want to come back to. But David, I'd like to get your perspective on this as well.
Well, along the lines of what Bobby was just talking about, remember last year, the Brutalists used AI to change voices to fit the proper accent. And Kickstarter has the requirement that if you use AI at all, you have to disclose it right on your page. So those are things that are happening. But fraud is such a big word.
I know.
because
I chose it.
because it you know it's basically, then you're saying it's illegal. Definitely disingenuous is the word I would use if you're using it and not disclosing.
Yeah.
I mean, we had, I know you guys, most of you probably know, there was an artist who got called out for basically tracing porn stars,
Yeah.
years ago. That was a big deal. I'm not going to use names again, because just a couple of years ago, a very famous DC artist was proven to be swiping like 1 out of every 3 covers he did.
Yeah.
It's
I remember this.
it's tantamount to the same thing.
Yeah.
Except in this, you're just plugging in a prompt, and it's, oh, well, I generated it, but I took it into Photoshop. Okay, so what? I could do that. I mean, I don't have 30 years of training in art, but I could certainly, I'm good enough with Photoshop that I could generate an image and go in and change it enough and say, oh, this is mine. But you still can't copyright it, so it's not yours. And that's where it could become an issue, is if someone is publishing something, attempting to copyright it, and they've basically swiped.
Exactly right. And I think there's a couple of things that both of you have said that I think leads to kind of the next point, and where we really start to kind of get to the rub, and it's about generative AI. So now when we have AI where we're not entering prompts, where it's able to, I guess a prompt, but you could just say, do me a cover in the style of Alex Ross, and it just pumps it out. And it's so the artist, Alex Ross, has been used in the past to program this. It's not his work, but there's been input directly from artists that become part of the programming of this AI, and now it's generative and it can do it on its own. It could even create work on its own imaginatively. Like it becomes its own intelligence, where we're really talking advanced. So my question is this: as this starts to advance and as it starts to roll out, can you think, how can we protect artists? How can we protect people, visual artists or writers, when this can adopt all of what they've done and just spit it out without even really like somebody typing in, hey, we need you to do this. Does this lead to like mass unemployment for all of our friends in the industry, where it becomes indistinguishable? We don't even know that this is happening, and the only people who are working anymore are people like Alex Ross, who will always get jobs. But the art that we appreciate in comics or in other media, does it start to disappear because of generative AI? And Bobby, would you tackle this one first? I think you brought up generative AI.
Yeah. So when I think of generative AI, it sort of it broadens the argument for me in a couple of ways. One is, so for many years at the university I was at, I co-ran a digital study center, right? And the mission of this center was exploring and using technology in new kinds of ways. And so this thing, when we first started a decade ago, we were thinking about AI and lots of great possibilities, using neural network stuff and big data and all the processing that it could do. And it was kind of an exciting concept, right? But also looming, wow, there's some darker things. So I remember for a long time there was some positive excitement, right? That started to take a back seat for me when we saw AI, particularly generative AI, that uses a prompt that goes out and scrapes all of everything that exists on the internet to make something from it, right? It can't make something from nothing. So I saw very quickly, I think Sleepy Reader said, I wrote it down really quick. He said, AI can steal someone's life's work in a second, right?
That's right.
And there's something quite sad about that and extraordinary about that idea. And so for me, if you ask me, is AI good? Is AI bad? The question becomes very difficult, right? Because we will use AI and its massive computing power to, finally cure cancer, right? then you're going to have this thing where in a blip of a second, it can steal someone's life's work, and someone can make something simply by typing in a prompt, and it's only done because of other people's work exists out there. I did a interview with my school newspaper, and I kind of said a quote that was offhanded at the time, but I keep thinking about it. The student journalist who was questioning me was asking something about like, yeah, but it makes doing stuff so easy. Like, now it makes the process so easy. And I remember I said, you know what? Maybe some things aren't supposed to be easy. Maybe making art should not be easy.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
and then she was like, yeah, that's true. And so that's where I am with generative AI. Making art, I don't think maybe should be easy, right? So that's where I am with that.
I wanted to get Sakesha in on this next. So this is something, as you get to this generative AI, where it really is taking from different things, and artists aren't being compensated or even recognized.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you feel about this? Where it can end? Is it frightening? I mean, to know that that this is happening.
It's interesting. The question is so interesting because at first, when everyone was trying to fearmonger me, this is interesting, and I'm so grateful for the support from my fans. But I'm gonna give some knowledge because I get a little metaphysical sometimes. Sure. A while back, I almost joined the upper rap echelon, and I learned some things that I probably shouldn't have learned. I will leave it at that. But I was instilled a bit of valuable knowledge of how just kind of the world sort of works, right? And this can be applied to anything. So, at first people were trying to fearmonger me like left and right. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like this thing can actually pump out Sakesha Ray art. I'd like to see it try. And it was close. Some people, I told my friends, hey, see if you can. I think in my experience, artists should learn this is also beneficial. Why? If you're a traditional artist, your work goes up in value. I think I've seen now, if you can literally live draw because of the influx, the saturation, everyone wants to be an artist. Remember that quote in Syndrome from Incredibles? When everyone's super, no one will be, So, right? That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So I think about that quote and I'm like, well, traditional art is becoming more and more less. So if you want to protect I'm touching back on that question that you asked, how can we protect ourselves, right? Traditional art, recording, of course, do it live. Like people, they love that. And also the last thing I'll say is the true passion of a human's heart that goes into the work. I know all the creators here can agree. If you put something in that is, I've seen shit ass artists, shit ass work, but that they love the work, so the work sells. It sells because the artists they love the work. It's their baby, and I truly do think that. And sometimes I look at my art that sold before from myself in the past. I'm like, what the fuck? This is bad. But I love what I do, and I know that you guys all love what you do, and I think that does translate. Are we right to be a little afraid? I think it's interesting. I think we can't run from it, but traditional art is becoming more rare. So if you want to save yourself, do traditional. It's special,
Yeah, and I think this is going to lead to another topic as well. David, I know you're chomping at the bit, but I wanted to get Justin in really quickly. Justin, what do you think of this?
So the hope that I have, and it's easy to spiral into just like a fear sphere when it comes to this. The hope that I have is that as far as lettering goes, there are rules that you follow. But what separates a good letterer from a great letterer is knowing when it's okay to break those rules.
Right.
And I don't think that is something that can be taught. It's a feeling, like you just know when you should do it. And I don't think that's something that at least I'm hopeful that's not something that AI can be taught.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's funny you put it that way because like when I write, And I tell people who I'm teaching how to write that you can't start breaking these rules before you've proven that you can even write anything. You have to like, so I feel like I'm at the point where I've written enough that I can challenge my artists and letterers by doing things that are, you know, outside of the realm of what you normally do in comics to see if it'll work. You know, we like to try things. But to some of this other stuff, like Sakesha, you were just talking about, I literally talked to someone today who was telling me his friend went to OAX last year. He was an inker. He brought a ton of work, sold everything, and said he wished he had brought twice as much. I said, yeah, because there aren't as many traditionally inked pages anymore. You know, digital replaced the whole process. So there just aren't that many. If you can do traditional art, you should be doing your art traditional. Then if you want to ink it and color it digitally, go for it. But you need to have that piece because that's where you're going to make your money.
Yes.
So, and all the other stuff we talked about, I've been sitting here taking notes because there's so much. Like the one thing that Bobby was saying is like yes, it should be harder. And to me, honestly, like when I make something, I actually pretty much don't look at it again. It's literally the whole process of making it that is what I enjoy about it, and then putting it out in the world. Because like when I wrote Stake, the newest issue of Stake, it was 3 years after the last issue came out, and I read it again, and that was like the first time I had revisited since, you know, we put out a trade paperback.
Wow.
And I was like, oh wow, this is actually, I understand why people actually kind of like this. This isn't half bad. So
I was like,
look, I made it and then I didn't read it. You know, I did it. I made the book because I loved making the book. That was the part to me, you know, the deep dive research and everything, the figuring out how the plot works, doing all that fun stuff. But when it comes to artists and their role within AI, Derek in the chat said it. It was something I was thinking about before even, is a friend of mine who's huge into AI. We have interesting discussions. He's like telling me it's going to take over everything. I said, no, we're going to have a human made stamp because people want stuff that was made by humans. But he told me about an artist who literally trained their own AI and sold the rights to people who want to make stuff in his style. They can pay him for a subscription and they can use it to make things. So if you're an Alex Ross, if you're an art term and you build your own engine and you sell it, at least you're monetizing it. You know, if we can't stop it, at least you have a way to make money off of it. You know, what if things that are generated by someone that is not the artist, but it was trained on their art, what if it has to be embedded with a credit to him? What if they have to receive royalties if it's sold? I mean, these are the only ways I can think of that if we're basically training things on someone's art style, that they can benefit from it. It's like the stupid NFT thing where people, you know, oh, if you're the original, you somehow get paid every time it sells afterward, even though I'm not sure that was ever actually happening. But, you know, something where at least if they're stealing your work, you have control over it and you're getting something in return. That's the only way I can think of making it even somewhat ethical.
This leads to the next biggest point, I think, is it seems that this is inevitable and this is going to grow. It's going to become more prolific across industry. Ideas on how to coexist. And, you know, my thought is if at a minimum, everything that is AI generated must be declared as AI generated, then I think that there have been a couple of people in the chat who've been making this point that people really want human-made art. They want soul, and they want you know, somebody who's thought about these things and felt things, where a computer can't have that. A computer might be able to do artificial thought, but it won't be able to do artificial emotion. And if everything is declared, and you know that's going to an actual that there's an actual person who put heart and feeling into this thing, does the whole thing, going back to does the market really decide, and would people overrule this? Would they? Is this something? What do you think? Do you think that people would choose just, hey, whatever aesthetically pleasing, this is fine? Or if it's marked clearly this is AI and this was made by a human being, that people would choose to buy what the human being makes? What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me because I was going to say, can I say something from a fan's perspective? So we have a lot of comic makers up here, right? And this back here is a page from a great independent comic book artist named Jeremy Eaton. It's a page he did on Walt Whitman. I loved it. I wrote an essay about it for a book that came out. But I have many, as you do, Mike, and I know many of us in this chat do, have original comic art that we've paid, lots of money because we value what that thing is. And as you were talking, David, you said something, and Mike, you said something. I got reminded about, this isn't the first time this happened. There's a philosopher and a art critic named Walter Benjamin, as in French, and he wrote a very famous essay called "Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction." And what he was kind of saying is, when we reproduce art, right? If we take the original and we make reproductions of it, that the aura of the thing is destroyed. And as you said, like the soul of the thing, right? So I feel like the art object itself, that thing has a soul, and we do want that, right? As people who love a thing that you can't get from the reproduction, you can't get from what the computer made. To me, now someone might say, well, if the computer makes it original, but at this point it's not. That's what generative AI is. So I feel like the thing has a soul. The art has a soul, the original thing, the inker's page, right? That you were talking about. And we want that.
A piece of themselves on that page.
Yeah, we might get to the point where, as David was saying, where we're so overrun by AI that we'll need the human stamp, right? This was as soon as you said it, I could see a movie being made, right? Like this, made by a human, right?
Yeah.
It's like, something made in America, right?
I think it's sooner than
value. So
I mean, is it as simple as that? Do you think? Do you think if we're marking this, at least that people, do you have enough faith in people? What do you think, Sukesh? Do you have enough faith in people that they would choose the human made option?
I do. I absolutely do. And I say that without hesitation. That's, you can tell when I lie and you can tell when I don't lie. And this I have without, for sure.
Here's your eyebrow twitchers.
Yes. Weird. I really do believe in people though. Like it's so much that everything I go back to metaphysics because this is how my whole career has ever been. And I'm so grateful, knock on wood. But everything has a soul. Bobby, I love what you said. Like, I almost like screamed. I'm like, yes, like it does. You cannot reproduce that shit. Like, I have an original Sonic cover, like a Sonic page, a big Sonic fan, right? It has a soul to it. There's somebody that put it, it's alive. Like, it's almost alive. Like, I don't want to be like fucking Pocahontas and shit, but like, it's alive. Like, it is. And I've noticed like my shit that like people who reproduce stuff, like my friend, do you guys know Mike Chrome from Australia?
I know the name.
Anyone? He's done a lot of Lady Death covers, so I just wasn't sure.
Yeah. Coffin
Really
Comics
cool.
is great.
What's that?
Coffin Comics is great. They do great stuff. Yeah. Sorry.
But no, it's okay. He had somebody copy his work to a T, reproduce it, and then try to sell it on eBay. It fetched like the original was like obviously a lot of money, but someone tried to reproduce it and sell it like exactly word like to a T. It fetched like $16. And he's like, I don't know if I should be offended or like, you know what I mean? Like, right. It's everything has a soul. And it just that's the way my life has always been, at least. Maybe it's different for others, but I think authenticity will never ever be like, if you're truly authentic and you fucking know it, that energy goes out into the universe. Because karma, I'm gonna turn Indian right now and I'm gonna be real about it. Karma's fucking real. It is real. You do some fake ass shit, come right back. And you know it. Sorry, okay, I'm done.
Okay, I'm gonna quote that. If you do some stink ass shit, it's gonna come back to you. That's gonna go on my Instagram.
Yeah.
That's my next T-shirt. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
David, what do you think? Does it, if we mark it, like if we are going to mark this, do you think that it helps, or do you think it maybe kind of solves some of these issues?
So I think it's kind of it's again, everything's so gray with this. Like, I somewhat agree with Sakesha about having faith in people, but I think our people, the ones who are in this chat right now, the ones who are in the online chat, the people who we see at shows, they care. They really do. But I think if you're looking at the general consuming public, I really don't think they care. They just want to turn on their TV and consume. You know, it's sad, but I think it's true. I mean, as far as branding it or not, and like you said, the market decides. Is it Hulk 180 or 181? You tell me. That it's whatever the market goes with is what people are going to settle on. It's sad but true, and I do think the Made by Humans logo, especially in our industry, is something that's going to happen much sooner rather than later. And I don't know if you're in any of those groups, Sakesha, where and maybe Justin, where they're creator groups, and someone will drop in and say, "Here's my completely AI created book," and they just get destroyed.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm talking about like 1,000 comments in under an hour. It's wild.
Yes.
Justin, what do you think? We have a couple of opinions. We have Sakesha has a lot of faith in people. David has less. Okay. But what do you think, Justin?
So I also think that for this generation of comic fans, the fans that are into comics right now, I think they're always going to want that human touch. As far as the next generation, the young group, I don't know. You know, it's I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't know what the kids are into these days. So, am I as hopeful? No. No, I have zero faith. None.
No. But just to act as devil's advocate here about the maybe less faith in younger people, I see trends where people, you know, someone mentioned, I think Jason mentioned, you know, people going back to vinyl records. I see trends where people are going back to old things. There's clearly a trend of people going to Golden Age comics. That's absolutely happening. And, you know, and art, like people buying like actual physical art and wanting to have physical art. I mean, does it you know, become cyclical and autocorrect where you know, okay, maybe there's this kind of like gap where people maybe don't care, but then they don't want the kind of swill, and they do want this authenticity. And
so
okay.
Now that you said that, I just remembered that earlier today, my 7-year-old daughter was running around with a Polaroid camera, taking the picture and pulling the. So I stand corrected about everything that I just said.
No.
Old is new, right? It always comes around.
Does anyone want to comment on what I just said, or? Oh, Brian's here.
I thought what you're saying is very insightful, and I think about it all the time because I've been teaching now for 20 years, right? So I've been seeing 20 years of students. This is why I do have a lot of faith in. I know a lot of people like to give younger like Gen Z or whatever below like a lot of, but I have a lot of faith, and I try to remain positive about our students. But also, I can see when we become. When it becomes, you know, so embedded as our way of life, right? And it's just part of their life. Perhaps I could see it not, there not being stigma or fear that we see, just like, you know, when people are sort of born into a computer, right? Into a computer screen. It just becomes a part of their life, a part of their language. So, you know, I do have a fear of that, right? But then we always do see, you know, this pushback, this rub against that kind of thing. Like, you know, the 7-year-old that pulls out the Polaroid in 2025, right? You know, I'm a crazy nostalgic myself. Like, I still like to shoot stuff on VHS for doc stuff I do. Like, we're going to get people that push back. But when you have, I'm old enough. I probably might, some of us might be as old as me in this room. I remember at a time when there were 6 billion people on the planet. There are now 8 billion people on the planet, right? It's like, how and AI isn't going anywhere, and that's why you see. And I'd be curious. I want to know what David has to say about, what SAG, what WGA and SAG, when they see what's coming, and so they're like, well, we better build this in now because you can't stop a moving train. So what are we going to do to mitigate this? What are we going to do to protect ourselves?
What are we going to do about Tilly Norwood?
Tilly Norwood, right? Yeah, that's what I gave that one article about.
Could you explain Tilly Norwood? Just
this was a completely AI actress who had someone created her, and this was her agent, and was there was a talent agency that was going to hire her. Then they found out, then they dropped it. There was like a bidding war before people knew, and other actors came out and said, whoa, this is crap. So there was a big sort of furor around this AI actress. And I remember when the first, what's the name of that video game? And then they made the 3D movie, and it was like Final Fantasy. Remember when that 3D movie came out like in 2001 or something like that? And it was cutting edge technology of the creation and representation of the human image. And that's when that idea of the uncanny valley first started to come in, like when it looks real, but it's not quite real. We're so far from that now that you could not tell Tilly Norwood was fake until it was said that she was fake. And I saw someone in the chat said, I think it was Steven maybe said, can you tell when something's AI, like as a teacher? And often I can. And I was I'm about to go to a festival in LA. I won't say what it is. It's one of the biggest independent film festivals. And I was a screener and a programmer for it. And I programmed experimental short. And I would say 50% of the movies I had to screen were completely AI made. I rejected everyone. I don't know if that was our mission or not, but I told the festival makers I didn't pass any of the AI generated films. So you can tell, but sometimes you can't. But yeah, I'm curious with David as a writer. I mean, I see obviously as a writer, I would just be so afraid, and I see so much quote unquote cheating or plagiarism in that at my level. And the problem is, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, is even if you think you know it, how do you prove it? And then there's that whole expression now, not liar's gambit, but now what's being used where someone will say like, oh, that's AI. And now they're believable. So there's the whole opposite effect too. But anyway, I'm curious. I want to hear what David has to say about writing and AI. I just feel like it's so scary in that world.
And there's no protections like with writers, like you were mentioning SAG. There are groups that will stand up for the rights of actors. But this is something
WGA
I think
has for writers, and put in place some rules through that union.
Right. That's mostly to protect them from producers just using AI generated scripts. I mean, there was I don't know if you read the one that was fed 100 Hallmark movies like years ago that had the old bones in the corner that was so hilarious. Like I used to share that every year, and now I'm like, oh, that was like the precursor to all this stuff.
I know. That's when it was a joke. It's not a joke anymore.
Yeah, it's not a joke anymore. But like for the most part, personally, when I can tell when something, especially if somebody's making a post online or things like that, I can tell that it's been generated by AI just because there's a cadence to it that the way they try to talk, it's like it's always the same, and it doesn't matter which one it is.
For YouTube, you can tell.
You can tell it, the overuse of the M dash right in the middle. It's always there, or the random emojis.
Similes and metaphors. AI loves similes and metaphors, and it overuses them constantly.
Oh yeah, within the same text, you'll see that it uses the same metaphor over and over again. Am I afraid? Not really, because I think good writers will always shine through. They will be better. Could that change? Probably. I mean, these things. My dad and I were just having a conversation about AI today. He told me that the processing power, speed, accuracy, year over year, it's 40 times. That's how quickly it's improving. Mm-hmm. So, do I think it will put us out of business? Probably not. Because I think the one thing that people can't account for is, Sushi, you know this, they want to meet us. They want to talk to us.
Yep.
They want us. If you can't
Yeah.
answer a question about your motivation while creating something, it's
Yeah.
a big red flag. You know, like, why did you do this? How did you do this? What were you
Right.
thinking here? You know, it's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
There is a human element to writing.
Mhm.
Like I've played with it. I've put my writing in and said, can you replicate this? And they cannot replicate my writing, which I'm happy about.
Mhm.
but someday they will be able to. And I don't know. Again, this is such a gray area. I'm not afraid because I know I can continue to write until I die. So if I have to compete with AI writers, then I have to compete with AI writers, but I will go out there. I had people at my table today. My parents are actually with me at the show. That never happens. And Sushi, you and we've talked at shows for half an hour plus, and they're like, you have to move on to the next person.
Yeah.
That's why people like us, though. And they want it. They like meeting us. They like
The interaction. Yeah.
Personable. I mean, you're not going to get that with someone who's writing a prompt. I mean, they're not going to like what they generate. I just don't know.
I think this is a really good point. And Sukesh, I know you have a limited amount of time, but I wanted to ask you on this one. I mean, it's a good point that Dave's making is, not only something crafted by human beings, but knowing the person. Like for me, and I think Rich as well, as we've been doing this, we love to meet people and to talk to people. And like personally, I like knowing that when I'm buying something, it's going to somebody I like, David's launching a Kickstarter. He knows I'm going to buy his Kickstarter. I know it, he knows that. You're dropping a cover. I just bought it. I just got your new Bug Wars cover, because I know it's going to a good person. So like, do you think this is part of it, that you're not only going to a human, but a human that engages with people and that people like? Do you think this is another thing that just might save traditional artists?
I think so. I honestly think so, Chanko. I really do, because I mean, you look at like stories of people, because it's inspiring. People like your favorite superhero. You know how Batman grew up with like a really dark backstory, and people go through shit. Life is really tough. Like life isn't easy. You go through a lot of shit. And the way the world is right now, it's really crazy. So people want to connect. They want to be like, oh wow. Like I look at like the girl from K-pop Demon Hunter. She was fucking shafted by the K-pop industry because she looked too old. And now they gave her shot. And now I'm just listening to all their songs on repeat. It's now her time to shine. I want to support her, because imagine how that could have been for somebody. Like to go through all that training as a K-pop only to be shafted by the label because you look too old. Are you kidding? It's the connection that we make that's so important. And I think that people, I love them, and I want them to like, it's such a personal connection. I think that does help. I mean, it doesn't completely sell the art. Like, I think it was either Bobby, David, or Justin. One of you guys had said about, it might have been Justin, honestly, or I'm not sure, but it was like, it was a little bit more of a pessimistic view. I think it was David, actually. But it's like some people will, I'm like, which one was it? But it's like, some people will just blindly just fucking buy it. They don't give a shit. There's always going to be those people that exist that are like, oh, well, there's just like a cyberpunk print and I just want it for my wall. There will be those people. But I think the real buyers and the real supporters, like, man, Takumi and I did a stream. Takumi, like the guy I brought from Japan for my live stream, he has been through, and I will not disclose, obviously, but some tough ass shit. And and I told him last night, you paint with your heart. And that was what, people love your story. People love you. And I think, just before I go, and I'll let you guys have the floor, but I think the personal connection makes a big difference. I think people want to hear you. And like David said, like I think all of us can agree. They want to hear what were you thinking? What were you thinking when you made it? Really?
That's right.
And then with that, I'll let you guys go. But I really appreciated all of this, guys. Thank you for having me on the stream. It's such a blessing. And Bobby, I know David,
Thanks
obviously.
for being here, Sushi. Yeah.
Dustin, thank you guys. I mean, you guys have been awesome.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thanks
Yeah.
again. I'll drop a line of things on Instagram as always. But thank you again, the great Sukesh Ray. Please subscribe to Art by Sushi on Instagram. Follow her and support her. She's an absolute gem in the community. We all love her. So thank you so much for doing this.
A beautiful soul. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I'm gonna go suffer with
Right.
deadlines.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
So yeah, maybe could we take some of the questions from the chat? You think, guys, if we don't get to all your questions, apologies. We really wanted people to be able to talk, and we knew that Sukesha had a deadline, so we're trying to get as much conversation as we could. Apologies for not keeping up with the chat this week. I think for these roundtables it's going to be more difficult, but
you gave a disclaimer at the beginning, so
yeah,
it's,
some people came late. But
Bobby and I are trying to keep up with the questions in the chat too.
Yeah, I saw another thing. I've been trying to look. Sleepy made another great comment, if I might, about Sleepy Reader had said.
I'm just going to go back to the top and
said something about here's one of the problems, and this is I believe in the artist, right? And I believe that the artist wants to make good work and great work, but then at the top of all that, and Sleepy said it's just gonna, let's not forget there's a corporation at the top here, right? That can say why am I going to pay these guys to do it when I can pay one machine? And that's something that is terrifying. And there's a documentary called The Corporation. And if you ever want to be horrified, and that documentary, essentially they say corporations are like humans, right? That's why you can't sue. And so this says, well, if they are, then they're probably psychotic, and they hold them up to the exam for psychosis, and they're able to check off every mark against corporations. And so
certainly the mouse seems to be.
So that's a scary thing, is that's at the top there. Anyway, sorry. I just had this.
No, that's a great point. As we said, we're interested in your opinions.
And I'm not trying to be. I hope I don't sound like a fear monger here.
I don't think so at all.
Terminator was a documentary, right?
Yeah. That's what I say to my students.
Yeah,
it will be a documentary.
Yeah, it was sent back in time. With the Terminator.
One other quick thing I'll say, in case there's something I give my students all the time. In 2024, Forbes magazine came out with an article. And JSS Brooklyn has been great about putting links in, so he can find.
He's awesome. Yes.
Yeah. So Forbes wrote an article, and it's called, I wrote it down here, urgent ethical issues, 6 urgent ethical issues that you need to think about with AI. And this is 2 years ago. One of them is data bias, 2, privacy, 3, accountability, 4, job placement, 5, transparency, and 6, what's ahead. And when I saw that one, I was like, Terminator. That essentially that's what they're saying. We don't know. Right. We don't know, but it's not stopping, and it seems to be exponential.
Yeah. And our buddy Matt had a question. Why do you guys think AI has moved into the entertainment industry so quickly?
Exactly what Bobby just said, is that it's cheaper. It's all about the bottom line for the higher ups.
Yeah.
And I think it's an illusion. It's not just almost every piece of software you're using right now has an AI component. I use Adobe Creative Suite every day.
Mm-hmm.
AI shit all in it. My email has an AI assistant. Your web browser does. Every time you do a search, I've turned mine off. I don't want the AI assistant. When I use Adobe stock, I turn off the AI, generate AI stuff. I turned it off. So much software has AI built in so many ways. It seems like it's the entertainment, because it's very easy to see, but it's being built into everything, really. Technologically, anyway.
Yeah, Jason's got a good one here.
Yeah.
Is it just a matter of the camera replacing the fine artist?
That's the complicated question, right? Are we all being paranoid? Is it just another piece of technology that we need to figure out how to use?
It is different though, right? It is different this time.
It is different.
The goal is for it to be have its own new form of intelligence, and to be totally self losing my words, work completely on its own, independent of human hands is kind of what they want.
Yeah. People forget too, we have pumped the brakes on technology one other time not too long ago, and that is with cloning. We saw what could happen there, and the world community got together and said, whoa, let's pump the brakes on this. That hasn't really happened. People are saying it with AI, and it's happened maybe on some sort of smaller levels within institutions, but not on a large level.
And no, just a counterpoint to what we just said. I'm sorry, I don't want to. I just would like to offer some devil's advocacy for like for the one difference is that when we're creating, especially generative AI, and next level or next like the next edition of this, the thought and the goal is for it to be independent. Where at what point is the genie out of the bottle and you can't regulate it anymore because it's already escaped and it's already uncontainable? Is there any? I mean, this is something that I always think about, the worry that it can go it can grow beyond us and maybe will. Sorry, that's a fatalistic question, but
I have lots to say. I've been saying so much though. I'll step back for a moment.
Justin, I'm sorry I haven't included you. Any thoughts about what we've been saying or Bobby's been saying? Please, I'm sorry that I'm talking so much.
I purposely go out of my way not to think about it because I feel like it's something that will keep me up at night because it's just that rabbit hole, right? Like you start thinking and you just keep going. And
very easy to get nihilistic with the whole thought.
Yes. Yeah. I don't want to. I don't.
Right.
As much as I have no faith in people, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. All right. By the way, hi to our good buddy Kiss Kiss who showed up. Yo, Kiss Kiss, another one of our favorite people, by the way. But
question directed to David.
Mm-hmm. I mean that. Again, it comes down to what we were talking about. Are they disclosing? Because then they need to be giving the audience the opportunity to speak with their dollars. I mean, can we really stop a publisher from doing that? I mean, I am the publisher for AMP Comics, and we would never hire someone or sign a book that was written by AI or had art by AI. But that's our personal stance. There's nothing illegal about putting out, AI written comic books.
Rich, what do you think about maybe inviting some of our friends to directly ask the panel some questions? Do you think maybe we should share the link? Let's make sure Beef Drippings doesn't show up.
Yeah, we'll open it up to a few people. Beef Drippings has he's got a reserved spot if he shows up. So
we did Brian. We did talk about the false accusations kind of early on some artists.
I'm out here. Where was that? Oh,
just to give Justin nightmares. We were talking earlier today about once AI can build robots that can build robots, then that's when we're screwed.
Then we're all the Matrix. We're all we're all
Matrix.
Power plants.
Well, I don't think we're going to be potatoes for power. I think they just won't need us.
Right. But I heard another option that people said was, would AI find us like cute, like pets,
and keep us as pets? Yeah, actually, that thought crossed my mind too.
Yeah,
and I love there's been so much great speculative writing about this kind of thing, right? Like I always say, like the answer has always been in science fiction, right? Because and speculative writing in that sense. And that Forbes article I just remembered,
hey guys,
at the very end of it, it says, "Hey, you know what? Let's not forget Ray Bradbury's like 3 principles on robotics, right? From the iRobot short stories in there.
Robots will go crazy and kill people.
Yeah, exactly. So that's in my mind.
Did you guys hear about that experiment with the AI?
Which one?
So there was an experiment where they basically created a controlled environment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I heard this on a podcast, I think.
And basically what they said is, okay, you can read all the emails. It's like a company, okay? You can read everything. You can look at everything. You know exactly what's going on in the company. And the way it works is the AI is on servers, which is in like this building. There's a vent. Sometimes it accidentally releases poison gas into that room, okay? And what they say is Bob is going to turn off the computers because we're going to get rid of the AI. Okay. But the AI, its one job is to say if that vent is releasing poison gas into that room and to warn everybody that's in that room to get out. So Bob goes into that room, like pretend Bob, and he goes into that room and the gas gets released. The AI does not warn him.
Wow.
Because it wants
he
to
wants his
kill the guy
job.
that might do it.
Yeah.
There was another one where it was one of the AIs was going to be upgraded to a new one, and it started blackmailing the person whose responsibility it was to the upgrade.
Trying to,
The other thing that there was another thing with AI where there was a new version coming out, and the AI actually deliberately sabotaged the new version of the AI so that they couldn't release it.
Or there was one where they did two completely separately developed AIs and started letting them communicate with each other. And like within like 10 or 15 minutes, they detected that they were speaking to each other in ways that trying to hide the conversation that they were having from the humans, like clandestinely, like they were like saying hi, how are you and stuff, but there was some other code being going back and forth where they had to separate them because they wanted to talk completely independent of humans being able to see what they were saying. Weird.
It almost feels like our issues with the creative side are smaller than the global issues that we could be facing here relatively soon.
But I don't know if you guys know, this is our buddy Alan, Comic Collector Geek. A lot of us met due to his channel. He's got a very, very big comic channel. Alan, did you have a question for the panel or anything you?
So I'm curious, like, this is kind of like, again, devil's advocate a bit for the AI, because I know I love you, AI, don't kill me. Up till recently, a lot of artists use digital, format. They don't paint anymore on the canvas or anything like that. And really, this is actually taking art to one step further on the digital front. Now,
is it more than that?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, making a case for the AI where it can say, well, you guys were doing digital anyways. You guys were just manipulating it through digital. Well, this is just the easier way to manipulate it through digital. Now, that's the devil's advocate here. So
a further devil's advocate to that, just a counterpoint would be that when AI is completely autonomous and it doesn't need human hands to do anything, now that it's not a tool anymore. Now it's completely independent and something else entirely.
I mean, I think it's a good thought experiment that Alan poses, and it's something we should do, because I remember, and that is really how we deal with technology, right? So what I remember when I was in film school, when Adobe Premiere 1 came out, like the first iteration. It's like up to 26 now, right? And when it came out, I was like one of two people in all the film program, and I was like, oh yes, I'm interested in using that. And all my other colleague students were like, what the fuck is, like, we're making film here, man. We're shooting on film. Because when I went to film school, we shot on celluloid, we exposed film. And they were disgusted, like, by, like that we would do such a thing. Like we're we use mechanical means to make art, not computers, man. And I saw it as a way of expanding a way of communicating, right? And I think technology is a paintbrush. A pencil is technology. These are ways, these are tools we use to express ourselves. And I guess we have to ask ourselves, what is the line in that? And I think that's what you keep saying, Mike, like, but is it the same, right? And when it starts to make for itself and doesn't require the human hand, the human heart, the human soul, the human mind, what then? So, I mean, I don't have an answer for this, Alan. I think it's something we have to keep asking ourselves and saying, when is enough? What's the line for us? I mean, for me, the line is, I don't know. I thought I was gonna have a big moment. I thought I was gonna have a big moment where I could say what the line was, and then I hit it, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not smart enough. Someone else will be though.
Bobby, I
But
learned
I don't use
Premiere.
it to generate. I don't use it to generate work that's made by that scrapes other people's work. I don't do that. I don't participate in it. I don't watch it. Like if my wife watches something on YouTube, as soon as I hear it's a YouTube voiceover, I say, stop it. I don't even want to know what it has to say.
Yeah.
Bobby, when I was in high school, I learned Premiere, and then I went to film school for a year, and they had us splice together Super 8. That shit sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
So give me digital editing any day of the week over trying to splice film strips together.
Yeah. And one thing this technology does, and one thing I never want to stop, is technology is the great democratizer, right? If anybody has ever seen Hearts of Darkness, which is the making of Apocalypse Now, Francis Ford Coppola at the end of the film says some little fat girl in Hawaii is going to pick up her VHS camera and make the most beautiful film you've ever seen, right? Because technology democratizes that.
Yeah.
So
that's why I was wondering, in a way, like, maybe artists are kind of like gatekeepers. Like, oh, it's only people with the skill to actually have the hand control, like all that are allowed to make great art. But now with AI, a guy that's not talented, a guy that can just say, oh, I think this aesthetically looks cool, or has like creative ideas, can say, hey, AI, make me something that with this kind of style and this kind of concept, and it can become real and beautiful too. So
that
we're gonna have to decide if we want that.
Yeah, that line is so thin, because like you think about Tangerine was made on an iPhone, but it was still made by a talented director.
In a mind, a human mind.
He made the movie. It wasn't, his phone didn't make the movie for him. So it's like putting the right tools in the right creator's hands, you can create something beautiful. Because I could try to draw something with the same tools that Sushi has, and it is not going to look anything like anywhere near it.
Now, just this is another point that I kind of wanted to get to, and it's a bit of a tangent, but YouTubers, we're a bunch of us are YouTubers, and we create YouTube content. It's not nearly what goes into creating a comic, maybe, but is there something where if we believe in this, and if we believe we would like to head this off for as long as we can as YouTubers. I mean, I see a lot of AI slop on YouTube, like where it's like 100% AI generated. No, like it's just somebody just put in a prompt and just farted out some terrible YouTube top 10 villains of all time, and it's just like saying really kind of dumb kind of stuff. But then I do also see people who I think are really good YouTubers using AI, and they're using AI for scripts. They're using AI for art. They're using AI for thumbnails. They're using AI for their avatar. They're using AI for a lot of things. Is this something, and maybe even YouTubers in the chat, is this something where, I made a video about just say no to AI slop and stop doing it. Don't include it. Just, whatever you have to do, even if it requires more editing, just make your videos as best you can without using AI. Is this something that there's any value? Is there like an incrementalist type of an idea that if we're bringing this stuff out and bringing it out even in increments, that it kind of cheapens even what we're doing, which is a much smaller scale? And Rich, I would love your opinion on this one too, so you being a fellow YouTuber. Rich, maybe you want
me?
Yeah.
Oh, you want?
You're Rich, right?
I thought you were just asking those guys. Yeah, I was allowing everyone else to speak. Could you repeat it? I'm sorry, I was paying attention to.
I was just talking about YouTubers using AI to like supplement their videos, and on the script that they're using, to their thumbnails, to adding to. Is this something where even as YouTubers we should be putting the brakes on our own silly little videos that we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like you guys have already said and mentioned, several different times, each person on the panel. some way or some form of said this, but it's a tool, but at the same time, it's tricky because when it's the when you have people that don't feel like they're talented enough and they want a shortcut or make it easier or something like that, and being YouTuber, I could see it being used to a tool as to a point, but at the same time, if you're generating the whole video as AI, then why are you even doing it? To me, it's
to get money.
I don't know. I don't. Being a creator, I don't consider. I don't like calling myself an artist, but I like to draw. I like to create. I'm very creative. If it's not doing YouTube or doing comics or doing, I used to do a lot of woodworking. I grew up in hot rodding. I'm always trying to create in different ways or shapes or form. That's just to me, that's a human element that makes us, who we are, or makes us human. When you have a machine that does it and can do it pretty efficiently, but not always the best. I mean, right now, I can still pretty well tell, because I went to graphic design school many, many years ago, back when he used to, do a lot of stuff the old ways. And then, when I was going in school, they were just bringing in computers like Macs to do your design work on and all this other stuff. So it was, technology is always going to advance and always going to keep bringing in new ideas and introducing new things. But yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but yeah, there's a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
Can I
One
jump
idea
in?
that
Please.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Please, brother.
David said something at the top of this that I thought was fantastic, and he's a teacher, right? Even if he said he wasn't a teacher, I could have tell by the statement he made, and that is when he talked about fundamentals in writing, right? And teaching fundamentals, teaching the foundations of something, and then I think even Mike, you had said something about breaking the rules from it there, right? And so for myself, when I see an AI video, I'm really, and this might be a fault of mine, although I don't fault any of my friends in the chat. But when I see AI generated stuff, no bueno for me, man. Like, I don't want to do it.
I'm the same way, Bobby.
And here's one of the reasons, like, because you know what? I like to learn. Yeah. And if I could very easily, like, I labored through figuring out some stuff when I made my new video and had to make myself Rorschach and Dr. Manhattan. I had to learn some shit to do that. And After Effects that I didn't know yet.
By the way, if people haven't watched Bobby's new video, go watch Bobby's new video. It's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
The Peter Cannon Thunderbolt, that was all real. I have to teach myself something. I have to learn something. I have to learn fundamentals. And I tell my students, when you take filmmaking 1, you're here to learn the fundamentals. And then when you go beyond that, like, you start to figure out how you can break the rules or bend the rules or find new ways to do things. And with AI, here's one of the problems. You don't need to learn those fundamentals, right? You can just type a prompt into something and it can do it. And that's a loss of something really important. When no one knows the fundamentals, like when we don't have plumbers anymore, like, because everybody thinks they have to go to college, like, what the fuck? We're in trouble. Right? Yeah.
This speaks to Rich's point, right? I mean, it's like, why are you doing it? If we're doing this as a creative outlet, then what's the point? We're all like trying to like do something fun and make some. Alan, you had a point to make. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this is kind of going back a couple hundred years, but let's go back a couple hundred years. So when
and Alan's gone frozen again.
Yeah.
Am I frozen?
Yeah,
he's out of back.
You started to speak.
Okay.
You're back. The AI doesn't like what you're saying.
My internet's been kind of weird. So when the Industrial Revolution first happened, when they were making cars, originally they would just have a whole bunch of people and they would all work together and make the car, right? And then they put it on an assembly line, right? Mm-hmm. And then people were doing the same one small task, screwing on one screw or whatever it was, and they were putting it all together. And they kind of moved away from knowing that they were making a car. They're just doing a task within that thing. And what happened was people at the time were like, oh, the car or whatever thing was being automated through this kind of line method, they were saying it's not human. It's not as real in a way. Like that was like the argument back then, that the automation and the almost making it a robot kind of situation had lost its humanity in the things that were being created. And there was a pushback back then where people actually were buying handmade stuff, and they would actually label. Do you guys remember like things labeled handmade, and that was like a whole thing?
Yeah.
And I think we might see the same. I'm trying to be optimistic here with AI, that people kind of feel like it's getting further and further away from being like human touch. And one of the complaints that I've heard recently about it, it's too
cutting out again, Alan.
Yeah, we're losing you.
Get to your question.
I'm making great.
Yeah.
It's a good point. It's actually what David was saying way back when, that stamp, made by a human.
Yeah. He's frozen.
Sorry, my internet sucks. I'm trying.
I don't get it. You're in the best part of town.
Matt, did you have a question for the panel?
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if the questions I posted in earlier or not were asked because I had to take my kids.
I showed a few of them. Yeah. I showed a few.
Did you ask them or?
Yeah.
Some.
Okay.
Yeah, some.
I definitely talk about the recognizing AI one as a teacher. I think you asked that, right?
Yes, I did ask that.
I responded to that. Yes.
Okay, I'll check. You don't have to do that again. I'll check the rerun.
Yep.
I had to take my kid's friend home, but what I wanted to ask is how. Okay, are you guys all, especially the two artists here? I know Bobby, you work at a college, and you're although you do filmmaking.
He's a filmmaker.
I consider myself an artist, man.
Yes. Okay. No. That's fair. I mean, I consider myself an artist for music, so I get it. No,
there you go.
Okay, here's my question then. As artists, are you afraid that people are going to actually hire you to do AI? And if so, would you do it?
They wouldn't need to hire me.
Yeah,
they would
there's
just
no
punch
point.
it into a computer. That's my fear.
Yeah, but
they can find someone cheaper than us, unless you mean just to use our name for it.
Pretty much, yeah, because obviously it's going to end up being
But they
like
might
that.
still need humans to be the aesthetic,
like
one
the
that
prompter.
This
I'm
is
guessing.
Yeah,
maybe
that's altruism, I think, too, right?
Yeah.
But would any of you work on, like, if they brought you on as artists, would any of you work on AI made scripts?
Or like, I think maybe he
not
means
knowingly.
helping generate the like
not
programming
generate,
it.
but even filming it or producing the art for it.
I mean, that would be that the script itself would be cutting me out. So,
yeah, you're a writer.
Yeah, unless I'm the one.
Sorry, I thought
processing
you
it
were
or
an
editing
artist.
it.
I apologize.
No, I write. So.
He is an artist. He is an artist as a writer, for sure.
Yeah, no. I know, but I thought he was a visual artist.
Yeah.
My mistake.
But is that becoming a thing with writers, that they are using AI to kind of come up with the overall draft and then getting writers to fine tune it?
I know there are people who are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to do that personally because my writing has its own flavor. I'm not going to.
And that's what I certainly see. I'm a big fan of writers more than artists.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is no flavor, if there's no catch, and I personally think, having seen, I work for the government of Canada, and the government of Canada is beginning to use AI in a lot of its things. They're looking at it like they're using AI now for public. Oh my God, I'm losing my words. Like public, telling the public stuff. Public relations. That's it.
You needed an AI for you.
Right now, they're already starting using AI for press releases and stuff like that. And they're talking now, as a worker for the government, they're talking now of replacing us with as much AI as they can in the next 10 years or so. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of people that are going to have this, but they will lose the personal touch. I know a lot of people say there's no personal touch in government, but that's beside the point. Is your biggest fears? I mean, you guys can always do, self-publish when it comes down to it, but is there a way of assuring your fans? And again, I may have missed this question before, of assuring your fans that what you're seeing is real. As the writer, it's actually a lot easier because you have the flavor. But art, unfortunately, art styles can be copied, and same with film styles. They can be copied more and more.
Even
easily.
AI can mimic writing styles, Matt.
Yeah, I would say it's easier for an actual artist to prove themselves because they can show process. I'm not going to screenshot myself writing. That would
that'd be really boring.
The most boring thing on earth because I'm also like super ADD, so I may write 5 words and then I might bounce around to another screen and work on something else. So it would be a horrible experience for anyone watching.
No, but you would have saved your work.
Yeah, of course.
So you would have had those as proofs, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Justin, when it comes to lettering, I know you made the point that like a good letterer, you're thinking when you would break a panel and these types of things. Do you ever see this being something where would they ever replace letterers, or do you think the cream will rise and letterers will still be valuable because of their instincts and being able to use it at the right time?
So we are the cheapest part of the comic. Like we have traditionally at the lowest page rate. So if you're going to cut anything, I feel like it's going to be this. And we've seen plenty of indie comics out there where the writer has decided to save money and letter the book themselves, and those are easily identifiable to people who read a lot of comics. It's not good. I mean, I've seen those early versions of AI lettered comics, and they're not good. At least right now, they might be later on. But I could see it. It would not. Let me rephrase that. I would not be surprised if letterers were the first to go.
Wow.
Oh, that's
I lettered a preview book because I needed to get it printed for something, and one of my letterer friends yelled at me, and he said, "Send me the files. I'm going to fix this."
Well, I mean, here's another thing that I think AI is going to, make us lose. What I like, especially as a Canadian, you guys as Americans have many different regional cultures. Something done in the South is different than the Northeast and such and such and such, right? California, whatever. What scares me about AI is that we could lose those local flavors that can be such a touch. Like somebody says to AI, do a Southern Belle. Well, the AI isn't necessarily going to get it right. They're not going to. They may not get use the phrase, for example, "Oh, bless your heart" in the right way or something like that. That is something I'm scared of.
Yeah. I don't want to move on too quickly from the lettering thing. I wanted to follow up on that. I'm sorry. But Justin, you made a good point about independent comics and how this is good. But I mean, part of the flavor of great independent comics like Cerebus, for example, is the lettering, and it's one of the reasons why like black and white comics could be so distinctive. Do you think that the cream will always rise and people will, like as we were talking in many other things where talent will still take over and people will still prefer the human touch because of that realistic or that real element of a person touching it and that instinct of like, this needs to break the panel, or this needs to explode, or this needs to be icy for like a cold feeling on this. Do you have any faith at all that I'm trying to get the most optimistic view on this?
So, oh man, it's hard as a letterer. Like my job is not to get noticed, right? Like my job, if you notice me, I've done something horribly wrong, right? Like I am an offensive lineman in football.
Nice.
So it's hard, right? I guess I'm being pessimistic on it because my job is not to get noticed. Will I get noticed if I'm replaced?
Okay.
I liken it frequently to Bobby's World, where it's like sound editing. You don't notice it unless it's bad. It's the silent art that makes a comic. It makes a film. It's
actually
it has to be there. Yeah.
And when you see bad lettering in a comic, it's
lettering. Yeah. Lettering in EC Comics was you knew it was an EC comic because of the lettering. And one of the things I like about the lettering is that everybody has a different style, per se, like Irish rap versus, the guys who did EC versus the guys who are doing, I see someone commented about Gold Key and stuff. It is hard to have typesets like that. So the question becomes, is that something that AI can really do? Because everything would look the same. Even if you said, say, Comic Sans font or whatever,
I think you'd lose it. Actually,
calligraphy is beautiful.
It's maybe eventually, right, Justin, or do you think it can do it right now?
No, I don't think it could do it right now. I don't think it's at the point where I think it's at the point right now that if you were to read it, you could tell because it's bad and it sticks out and it doesn't. It's not part of the comic. Like you can tell. David, I'm sorry, I don't mean to pick on you, but it's like you said earlier when you're like, I had to get this out, I did it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so
it wasn't good. I admit it wasn't good. It just was. It was a thing. I needed to put a preview comic out.
Yeah.
And when you do an Ashcan, it's actually better because when the real version comes out, they can see the difference. So that's what I take solace in.
And Bobby, you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't even remember what I was going to say, but what David was saying, I've for my own little video, own comic or film work over the time, I've sort of tried to replicate have made, balloons with lettering inside. It's so hard to do it well. And when you look at it, it's so easy to tell when it's shit. Like, why can't I place it in here in a dramatic, economic, readable way? Like it's a real craft.
Exactly. Lettering is as I said, calligraphy is like lettering, whatever you want to call it for this thing. It's an art in itself. None of this art should be replaced by AI. None of it. I think it's a scary concept.
It's inevitable. I think one of the things that we're trying to talk about here, I think, is how can we coexist? How can we protect artists? It's going to happen, at least at some level. But how do we first, I think a lot of the things that we've touched on. How do we differentiate and show people, when you're purchasing that thing, this is AI versus was touched by human hands. How do we coexist with it? How do we allow artists to continue to make a living? I think we've touched on a lot of really good things, and I think there's been a lot of really great points made and things that I didn't know. Now, I know Bobby and David specifically, I know you were editing yourself to allow other people time. Were there things that we passed by too quickly that maybe you wanted to go back to and touch on, where I could see both of you writing notes and stuff. So I apologize. We wanted to make sure we got everybody's thoughts in, but things where you want to go back to and discuss again.
The way my brain works is if I didn't say it back then, it's gone.
Yeah, that's why I have to keep writing. I'm known around here as the great interrupter, because if I don't say it, I lose it. But that's why I have notes on here on my computer. Someone in the chat, this is one of my favorite movies. I wish I mentioned it up front. Colossus, the Forbin Project. I love that film. I made a film where I used a lot of that in it. And it's an AI computer who does decide that it knows better than humanity, and decides humanity needs to be wiped out via a nuclear war. It's one of those kind of films, but it's a really it's a great film. So I think Stevie D might have mentioned it in the chat. That was one of the things I wanted to mention. I'm just going through my notes. If anybody could jump in,
Just one thing real quick before I wanted to get to David, but Kiss, I don't know if your internet's fixed. If you could come in even for a few minutes, Kiss is not only an artist, but Kiss worked in the computer industry for many years. He and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. He has some real fascinating points on it. So I don't know if you have a minute just to make a couple points. Sorry that we're skipping over the chat, but want to make, if you have minutes, buddy, we'd love to hear from you. David, I'm sorry. I just wanted to tell Kiss if he wanted to come in.
We've been chatting the whole time too.
Oh, really? Yeah,
since he showed up in the chat, we've been.
What a badass, by the way. Like when we did our show where he did the whole show from the hospital where he was getting tests done. Yeah, one of the greats, the great Kiss.
I saw in the chat that Jason had sort of said, maybe posited the idea that we're far from AI being able to produce work that we couldn't tell. And Kiss said, I don't think we're very far from there. And I'm in that camp. I'm definitely in that camp.
And I would agree with you too, especially since in the case of Canada and some other European governments actually putting money into AI research. And
all corporations are. I was working just for one of the largest biopharm companies in the world. I'm actually on severance now. They got rid of like half my team. I'm on severance through August, so I have a lot of time for YouTube. But but one of the big ones, like when you're naming like the big biopharm companies, it's that one. The one you start with, it was that one. And they were like they're doing a lot of work with AI. I can't say their name obviously, but you can imagine. And I think all big companies, all governments, everybody is involved in this now.
Can I say their name?
No, please don't. Please don't.
I would say this: you ask about what we can do. As somebody myself, if I know something is AI, I'm not spending money on it. And ultimately, if they're not making money on it, they'll stop.
I don't think it stops. But I
I don't think it works that way. I don't think it's going to work that way. Yeah.
In the creative world, I think that's the only way to do it is to speak with your wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
But what if they don't trust you?
At least for us. So the people in the chat and the people on this panel and the people who care about this stuff, I think it was a great point that a couple people made where there are people who don't care. They're like, oh, I like it, whatever, I don't care. Yeah. But we do, like we know, and the people in the chat, I know they care. And I think if it's marked, at least that, if it's just tell us, if you have to tell us that you used AI, and we get to at least make that informed decision on our own, that's my only insistence is you tell me you want to make AI, go ahead, but you're going to tell me this is human made and this is not. I'm going to buy the human made. And particularly, as we talked about before, all of the people that we meet, we've met so many cool people and just great artists. Like I said, I know David has a Kickstarter coming, which we're going to let you vote, by the way, because it's going to be awesome. And Sukeshi, she just dropped the Bug Wars cover. I bought it instantly. Not only do I like it, but I like those people, and I can't say that like, oh, I prefer AI 2104 version 10 versus 2401 version 14. Don't give a shit. But for the people that I know, or where I know, I not only do I like it, but it's going to somebody who I happen to like. I will absolutely spend my money, and I'll buy everything they do personally.
What about someone like me who is slow bringing their projects out? I can't help it. I'm spread thin. I'm doing a lot of things versus, John Smith, who just put out 17 volumes in 3 weeks because he's into AI and he can get it out there and he can charge $1 for every volume.
I'm going with what I enjoy.
No, I'm saying that's the only thing that kind of worries me. But I think people have always waited for the things they love. So, I mean, if we make them love it, if they love us, and then they'll commit to it. If we sell them something and we don't deliver it, that's a different story. Then they're not going to like us anymore and they're not going to support us. We've seen that too.
I saw somebody make a comment, I think it was Jason earlier before I left, that about comics becoming the next vinyl records.
Let's hope.
It will be up to us as the people who love the stuff to keep it alive one way or another, like the true art. And honestly, there's always going to be a place for true art because you can't stifle creativity in the end. Somehow it will always get out. But what scares me is, you know what? We're going to have consumer protection laws about similar for AI if we're going, because companies will say, oh, no, it's not AI, but it is. And we can't really prove it without access to their things. I mean, other than the obvious things. And that's the thing that scares, another thing that scares me.
Maybe, but I think even if you as a consumer, if you say they're not going to mark this, they're not going to tell me if it's AI or not. Okay, I'm not interested. Versus like, you know, the companies or individuals who choose to say, look, our work is 100% human made or was 100% touched by human hands, then I'm going to opt for that. So I mean, maybe consumer protection laws might help, but I think even more is going to be people who say, look, what we're doing, it you know, 100% I made this, and I made it because I like doing this, and I put my emotion and my passion into it. I think that people will select it, and I might be too optimistic and Pollyanna about it, but I think people will choose it.
I think there's a great idea in there about consumer protection, and I think what it takes. I guess it hasn't happened yet, but something will go wrong, right? That will, I hope, because there's just not enough transparency in AI yet. So something is going to happen. Something hopefully will go wrong enough that you know, people will step in and our lawmakers will decide, hopefully in America.
As long as it's not Terminator movie.
Right, yeah, right.
Releasing viruses.
I've seen on the consumer protection, because they're going to use AI is being used in all kinds of ways, and who knows, AI is being used on an assembly line to, you know, check that milk is been pasteurized, right? And you know, something goes through, it happens, a bunch of people get sick. I don't know. Something's going to happen that hopefully can lead to some kind of consumer protection that at least we can know at some point, like, okay, this AI had a hand in this in some capacity or not. My example obviously is just to think of something. I don't know what it is, but
isn't it already happening every day with people being catfished by AI?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why that happened.
Because you made
Cheers. Happy birthday. That was the AI saying, David, we're letting the air out of your balloon.
Did you just congratulate yourself for that comment?
David, that's exactly why we need laws for AI in that sense, because it is too easy to hide behind it. I mean, like, it, you know, and if you catch these guys, they actually, as far as I'm concerned, deserve longer sentences because of the way AI can really be more convincing than everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, there's been in my other life, I'm a realtor, and there are warnings going out now. Don't answer your phone to a number you don't know by saying your name, because it can record your name. Now that it's got you saying your name, it's got your voice, and it can spoof you and call people pretending to be you.
Yeah, wow. And that I've heard that one too.
Yep, I don't actually, which is really bad practice as a realtor. I don't answer calls that I don't know. I actually let them leave a voicemail or text me, because
I do the same thing, David. I don't answer if I don't know.
Absolutely the same.
Yeah.
With you. Now, again, was there anything else that anybody wanted to bring up? I know we've gone almost 2 hours here, and I think we've covered a lot of really cool stuff. I hope everyone agrees with that. And is there anything else anybody really is passionately really wants to talk about? That we didn't get?
Can I make one comment if my internet will allow me?
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully my internet allows me to make this comment. So one thing that I do see is creative.
You're already frozen. You're already frozen, Alan.
Oh, jeez.
Type it to us.
Type it in the chat.
AI is preventing me from talking.
Yeah, he's
frozen again.
Yeah, you're frozen, Alan. You've been good the whole time.
Literally, Alan and I live 15 minutes from each other, and you know how my
he needs to come over to your house, Matt.
Hey, you put him on your Wi-Fi.
I might have to.
My internet hates me. I'm using like a thing to speed it up too. I'm using a booster. What I was trying to say, hopefully I can say it, is that if AI AI only knows all the artists that it has picked up so far. If you're a unique talent that produces your own kind of unique style, your own fingerprint, your own that has like a special look to it, you could copyright that style. People could buy that copyright and use it in AI, but you could sort of copyright your style. It's sort of like almost copyrighting your likeness, and where people that have died, they copyright that likeness, so the family owns that likeness. Well, your style could be copied.
The problem is the internet is the Wild West, right? And they don't, and when it's scraping the entirety of that, like while some people might be able to pick out, like for the Lily Norwood actress, I can't remember, some actress said, I can tell, because what they did was they pulled from all scripts and likenesses of act, and someone was like, that is using my cadence on how I deliver lines, and I think they tried to pursue it legally, right? But it's sometimes it's harder to do, because we know as comic lovers, we can look back and say, oh, I saw how this artist was aping Kirby or, doing the pose or doing this style, right? It's a thing that's been done. And sometimes, we, not so much to steal that person's art, but they're informed or inspired by it. But sometimes it's hard to pinpoint that to make a legal case on that kind of thing. And because it's such an amalgam of stuff, it's harder to pick that out. It's
a great idea.
Oneself.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's just in practice, it might be very difficult to afford.
Right.
So here's the way that I would see it happening. Just like Alex Ross has basically created a trainer where it knows his art style. What you do is you train AI. You actually use it, train it on your particular style or your way you write or the way you letter or whatever it is. And then you actually license out. Like if you guys work with Laura's and use like a lot of AI art stuff, there's actually, you basically are using trainers that have picked up different art styles, right? That's how most people create digital art, is they will use what's called a LoRa, and the LoRa is trained on a certain art style. So basically you could copyright that LoRa, and people are already doing now. They're copywriting a LoRa and they actually sell it for like a few dollars.
I think that's minimizing the capability of what AI is doing, though. I think AI, especially generative AI, will think on its own. So it's not just a program anymore. It's its own independent thinking organism. It won't just say, okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to use this approved program by Alex Ross. It's going to amalgamate, like I think Bobby said, where it's going to draw from a bunch where it becomes barely recognizable enough that it becomes difficult to enforce. I think your idea is great, by the way.
So here's the thing with when it amalgamates a whole bunch of things, what you get is sort of a mishmash. What happens when you kind of use more of a true version of the thing, like true Alex Ross. This is Alex Ross version of the art. Then you sort of that thumbprint that recognize what in. That, there's like really good art that's kind of generic looking. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it is an amalgamation of many art styles, and people don't generally like that. They actually prefer the more unique style art that has almost like a certain look to it, right?
Yeah, I think
so. That's what I'm saying. Like the creator types could kind of benefit from.
Kiss makes a comment here, and the genie could be out of the bottle. I think. What could you show Kiss's comment there?
Which one?
It's just right there. It's 856. It's Alan's already training itself from our work. It literally will spit out the same pose, the exact match that we. So it's already doing it without without these protections that you were saying. Yeah. So is the genie already out of the bottle? I guess is what Kiss is trying to say.
Yeah,
it's already done. Like we can't go back now.
But so one of the problems I find with AI is it does amalgamate things, and
I don't see that comment.
It's right there. It's like 4 comments up from the last one, or 5.
5, yeah.
Like, I
It's
think
not
that the way
showing up
that
on
we,
mine.
we as humans can compete with it is to say, hey, we have a unique style that isn't.
You're frozen, Alan.
You're
Doesn't
frozen, Alan.
have
It's really hard because
seemingly
I
fun
don't feel
talking.
like I have a unique style because I'm literally just copying and pasting.
You're just. I'm sorry.
But-
You're just copy.
Yeah, I'm just copying and pasting.
That's
Okay.
hilarious because that's my joke with my letterer. I call him the copy paster.
So there's two camps when it comes to that, right? There's a group of letterers who will laugh at that, and there's others who are greatly offended by that.
Yeah, I can imagine. He's very talented though. I'm sure you do the same. You put a lot of thought into your placement, your kerning. You know, the way everything is. Your fonts, your word balloons. They're not just circles with a tail sticking out of them.
Pre-made, like it's just a stamp.
I guess
They
the
just put
only
it on there.
But good letterers will actually kind of recognize the voice of the person that's speaking, right?
Mhm.
And they actually have to understand this person is angry, this person is wicked, this person is whatever. And that actually can come across in the lettering. It's not just a uniform lettering that you use across the whole entire comic.
Do you guys still like bold certain letters and make, like certain words and stuff? Because they used to do that in the 60s. That's how Jack Kirby got things across, or whoever lettered for Marvel at the time.
I will do that. In my scripts, I'll italicize, but sometimes the letterer will pick out words that they think they should emphasize, and it's better than what I picked. So there's an art to it.
There's art to lettering. See, Justin, there it is. It is.
Justin
Like,
knows there's art to what he does. There's
Like,
definitely
I'm a
art.
Golden Age collector, and one of the things the letterers used to do in the Golden Age is they would deliberately put in spelling mistakes. And the reason they would do that is they would try to get the different like accents or tones of the characters, and by putting in like weird pronunciation things, you could sort of get the way that person is speaking. So I think there is, and if you're using a machine, it's going to be correct. It's going to just do it like.
Well, that's the thing, Alan. I was talking about the local flavors. You lose that if they don't realize that this person, like for example, that group in England that always swallows their H's, like they may not always get that. Like, hey, how's it going? They won't necessarily get it.
Now, we've been going for a couple hours, and I think we've touched on most of the topics we wanted to. But again, is there, if we're any hanging chads out there? But otherwise, I was going to suggest maybe we could allow people to promote what they're doing. I know, as I said, David has a really, really cool Kickstarter coming. Maybe David, would you like to talk about your Kickstarter?
Well, I actually have one live right now. It's Eternal Comic, which is spelled strangely. So I don't know if you want me to put it in the chat so you can share it. That one is live right now. That's with myself and artist Ranga D. He actually came up with the concept, and then we wrote it together, and he drew the whole thing. We've got a cover from our friend Kiss Kiss, which I'll be blasting out in the next couple days. And Kiss Kiss and I are working on a project that's actually a lit RPG that's live on Royal Road right now called Ashborn. I think you've seen at least some previews of it yourself.
I have. It's awesome.
And to make things even crazier, we are going to kickstart a novella for that here in the near future, and I have another stake campaign coming next month. So,
I heard from a little bird that some YouTubers might actually be helping you with some game stuff coming up. I know it kind of fell by the wayside, but we were talking about maybe helping you guys.
That's what I heard, and the funny thing is, like, on the game part, that is totally 100% Kiss Kiss. I'm like, when I'm at shows and people say, "Oh, did you draw this?" It's going to be the same thing here. Sorry, I'm just the writer. So like, you know, I help with the flavor and the you know, the direction of where we're going story wise, and then he's filling in all the gameplay style, which helps immensely. So, and then we're going to do something a little different than other lit RPGs, where we're going to be able to integrate some of his art, and we're going to bring in some guest artists when we actually put it in a print version.
It's a great idea, and I looking forward to it. And
definitely looking forward to it.
And yeah, they did share your link there, but yeah, please back the Kickstarter, and he was on Nate's channel promoting that, but that's it looks really super cool, and follow his Kickstarter page because he drops a lot of cool stuff.
I just kicked on a virtual copy there.
Nice, thank you. And kind of like this, we actually unlocked the last stretch goal was Aranga and I are going to do a town hall like this, where it's a private, basically Q&A with only backers. So we're gonna wait till the books go out so everybody has a chance to read it, and then we're gonna do basically a get on like a big Zoom or something and just let people ask us questions. Hopefully it doesn't get too out of control.
Heck yeah. From Bobby or Bobby, you got anything?
I just have my my YouTube channel. If you search for sequential artifacts, I'm working on a larger film, but a lot of these short. But man, I can't get this idea. Like, I'm a big gamer. Like I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for over 35 years, and I'm a big tabletop gamer. And I'm interested in lit RPG. I teach a course at my college called Choose Your Own Adventure, so I'm very interested in text-based games and stuff. So I can't wait to learn more about this, David, and get in on that.
We might have to include you in the chat where we
yes.
We were talking about this, but I went to Europe and then the holidays, and then it's my fault. I totally let that fall by the wayside. But yeah, there's discussion. Maybe we'll talk later. But everybody go watch Bobby's new video with our good friend Jason, Archivist Adrift, makes a cameo in it. And
I did not know that. I'm definitely going to check that.
Go watch. Go to his channel and watch all his videos. They are freaking awesome.
I have watched a few of Bobby's videos. I just haven't. He hasn't been in my feed recently, so I haven't seen. That's the thing that sucks about the algorithm.
Yeah, and they take so long because I don't use AI. It takes me about a month. It takes me about a month to make each video. So I'm one of those once a month.
By the way, great Rorschach voice. Like, you nailed it.
I know. It took me a long time to get that.
His new video's got green screens. He's Rorschach. He's doing costume changes.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. But
thank you,
Justin. What are you working on?
Oh man, it just depends on the day. Wish there was something I could name that I'm like super excited about, but not right now. Like there's nothing that a lot of it's just paying the bills.
Well, by the way, congratulations. Justin, maybe you want to share your recent win. Justin just won a huge book. Alan's gonna like this.
Yeah, I opened it. I haven't shown it off yet.
That's a heritage bag. I know that bag.
Oh, hey. Wow, Carl Burks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful.
I had to awesome dip into my Heroes Con budget, but I don't see them very often, except one just showed up on Instagram today. It was a 7.0. I was a little out of my budget, but I'm happy with my 4.0.
Congratulations. It's the first work Carl Barks did.
Yes.
Yeah, first Carl Barks Donald Duck.
Very, very cool.
And speaking of Heroes Con, Justin, a little side note story. You had been on Nate's channel once before that or something. Mm-hmm. So I knew you, and I was like, you kind of look familiar, but we were going up the elevator. We got off on the same floor. You had your sandwich, and I asked you, what kind of sandwich is that? And I didn't realize it was you. Then after a little bit later, I was like, that was Justin, wasn't it? And I was like, And then
What kind of
see you
sandwich should I
around.
have? I'm more interested in what sandwich I had than anything
Yeah,
else.
you had that
You had
bag.
a
'cause I was
good
like,
looking
man,
sandwich if he remembers.
yeah, I was like, hey, you got a sandwich? Oh man, that looks good. And we were literally like 2 doors down from each other. But
You know,
yeah.
if it was Heroes Con, it's not exciting. It was probably just Potbellies. I don't have any Potbellies around me, so like when I go to Charlotte, like I eat a lot of Potbellies when I'm there.
But Alan, you got anything?
I am doing the hot list tomorrow, the Golden Age hot list. It's another record breaker. Huge sale happened a couple days ago, so I'll be reporting about that. And so watch my show tomorrow for the hottest Golden Age comics of the week.
Was it your purchase?
Oh, and on Monday, by the way, Monday special. Oh my goodness, we're going to be showing something. Hopefully, we don't get banned from YouTube, but we're going to show some kind of spicy stuff from the Golden Age, where it's like posters. The posters that they used to put into like the factories to encourage people to work, like just totally racist. Like they're like the most racist posters ever.
Oh my god!
They encourage people to be anti kind of fun stuff.
All right, Matthew.
Oh, on Tuesday, Matthew. Nobody calls me Matthew. Only my mom. On Tuesday, I have artist Mike Ruth coming on my show, and then at 8:00 I will be joining. I think Big Nasty, you're on that show. Nate's 8:00 show there
on Tuesday. Yes.
Yeah. He's asked me to join that on Tuesday. So
cool. Oh yeah.
I'll be popping on with you there. So Tuesday's going to be busy. Then Wednesday we've got the comic. What does he call it? The review show? Because he calls it the Comic Collectors Club on Friday, but is it comic book review or? Well, I'll be on Biggie Shack's channel Wednesday night doing a review of a comic book. Book club, yes, book club. What is wrong with my head tonight? Book club, yes, we'll be doing book club where we do reviews, and then of course Friday on Alan's channel and on Comic Collectors Club on Biggie's channel.
Cool. But well, buddy,
I could promote some stuff. I could promote some stuff.
Well, yeah.
Sorry. I figured while we have the thing, we might as well promote some future shows here. But
yeah, man, got a lot going on.
I just wanted to thank again. I wanted to thank Sukesha. And if you haven't seen, this is her new cover for Bug Wars, the great Sukesha Ray.
Nice.
So this is a one shot. I love Bug Wars. I read it last year. It's a one shot just about this character, the Spider Witch. But
it's spicy too.
Yeah, she is so
it's very
awesome.
spicy inside. Yeah, book.
Yeah, there's just a great cover. But then so next Saturday, very special Valentine's Day episode. There are hijinks and shenanigans planned, and me
and Mike and I in a tie tuxedos or
there's gonna be stuff. There's gonna be fun stuff planned, and we've already talked to our guest, and she is 100% on board. But this is her most recent cover. This is an Alice in Wonderland by the great Suspiria. So Suspiria Vilches will be on next week. You can see like the Cheshire Cat there and the really cool painted Alice. And
very cool.
She's going to be on one of, I think, if you've ever watched me, there are certain artists I talk about a lot, but Suspiria, she's super interesting. She has a really interesting story about like she's from Spain, like coming from Spain, and changing careers in the middle of COVID, and like kind of some personal stuff that I'll ask her if she wants to get into. And then she does all painted covers. Everything she does is painted. She also does like painted horror movie posters, like kind of like 1970s style slasher movie posters that she does. And she is hilariously funny, people are going to really, really like her a lot. I that's the one you got to tune into. And then another new artist. I just got this. I just was going to show it today just because but on the 14th of March, we're going to have Michelle Diaz on. Michelle Diaz is somebody people don't really know. She's rather new, but she works in charcoals and like charcoal style. But she just dropped this. She just dropped this really cool Baroness that just came out.
Very cool.
So this is like, she starts it with charcoals and then she kind of fills it in with color. So like physical, charcoal art. Go to Michelle Diaz, Dias on Instagram, and you can see her. It looks like a lot of her stuff's really Carla Cohen like. She's really good. And when I reached out to her, I was like, I really like what you're doing. Would you like to come on? She's like, yeah, I'm really new though. She's like, I haven't done, interviews. Are you still sure you want someone so new? I'm like, absolutely. We want to expose people to new artists. So yeah, that'll
was
be
that the Baroness, Mike? Was that the Baroness, that cover?
Yeah. In fact, I have one I haven't opened. She just did a really cool Vampirella too. That's really badass. But yeah, check out Michelle Diaz. And David. I mean, if you're looking for another person to do some covers,
I was muted, but literally right before you said it, I said she just did that Vampirella for Comic Mint.
yeah, she's really she's newer.
Believe me, I'm on the pulse of artists. I'm stalking them all.
Super talented, and I think it's going to be a really cool interview. The last thing, I not a promotional thing, but I made a big trade today at the Comic-Con. I traded a couple raw books, and I got a Frazetta today.
Oh, very cool!
Oh, wow!
Yeah,
good,
nice,
very cool.
All from a trade from Comic-Con. Sorry,
famous funnies. Wow,
Fred,
one of the last ones I need.
Is it?
Yep.
Mark it up. Mark that price up, Mike.
What did you say that was going to be the last show with Yaniv?
What?
No,
you say?
I said that's the one of the last the famous funny Fazetta run that I need.
Oh, I
need
misunderstood
two more.
you. Sorry.
I got the whole.
But ditto what Mike said. So it's what we got coming. It's what I got coming up. Got the Nate show on Tuesday and hanging out with Alan on Fridays. Some days, if I'm not worn out from working, like I was yesterday. But with that, guys, I want to say a big thank you to everybody in the chat and a massive thank you to our guests tonight. This was an awesome roundtable. I was just taking it all in and trying to watch the chat and listen to everybody's opinions and stuff. I love it. That's why we do this show. It's getting to meet people and getting their point of views. And it's about comics, but it doesn't always have to be about just showing comics. Go a little deeper dive into the world of everything and how it affects everybody's life and lives. And,
this was a fun one. Thank you guys so much for doing this. And it's different. We're going to do more of these kind of roundtable discussions coming up. And this was kind of a prototype, and I think it went really well. And it's because we had such great guests.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Great guest, Justin.
Kind of stick around for a minute after close this out. And again, thanks everybody, and have a good evening and the rest of your weekend. So, later, everybody.
It's a live show. Oh, it's a live show. Oh no, just wait, 'cause it's not just a live show, it's the live